Well, the whole process of construction of the cathedral was really in phases. Before it became a cathedral, it was actually a parish. And so when it was originally built, it was in 1881, but it wasn't actually dedicated until 1887 and didn't become the cathedral until 1918. Cathedral comes from the word cathedral, which means chair. So this parish church became the place of the new archbishop's chair. And so that's why it's a cathedral. Some interesting features about the interior of this building is that it has seen several phases in terms of the way it appeared. And that's because it reflected how the church was in constant evolution throughout the 20th century. When we look at how the cathedral looked from the inside, it went from a very ornately decorated worship space to one that kind of removed a lot of its identity. For example, in the late 80s, the designer at the time was really looking towards a more modern look and modern feel for the cathedral. And the artist may have pushed the boundaries a little too far, and the reaction from the worshiping community was one that did not accept what was placed. In place of the crucifix, which is always a signature piece of every sanctuary, there was a very modern take of the crucified Christ on the cross. The cross was not made of wood, but rather it was steel, and the image of the corpus was made out of glass, and it was very abstract, and that was very difficult for a lot of people during the time. So, because of the reaction, that was replaced with a more real-life looking corpus. The pipe organ that we have right now is a 2-manual Cassavant organ. I believe it was installed sometime in the 60s. It is not the largest instrument that we have in the city, but because of the way the building is built with all of the plaster, the acoustics in here are very, very conducive to music, to worship, to the organ, and the sound just fills the space beautifully. The majority of the stained glass that we have in the building right now is a second generation of stained glass. And you will see that this stained glass that we have now, the second generation, is more of a modern take. However, it still uses a lot of the classical themes and still echoes the purpose and meaning of why we use stained glass. It is a teaching tool. It's didactic and makes tangible parts of our tradition. It's definitely a key feature. And with all of the white in the building, it's really neat how different times in the day, different colors are cast on the various walls of the cathedral, and it really makes the art just shine through, and it's beautiful. You will notice on either side of the main sanctuary we have the Marian Chapel on one side. The Marian Chapel, of course, this is St. Mary's Cathedral, and so our patroness is the Blessed Mother, the Virgin Mary, and so we have a special place for the Blessed Mother. To the right of the main sanctuary, there is what we call the tabernacle, the place of the repose of the Blessed Sacrament. Primarily, the tabernacle is used for placing the Blessed Sacrament as a place of reserve, so that those who are ill or those who are not able to attend our worship services may still partake in the Eucharist when they are not able to attend. One of the other features that we have in our church is the area where we find the baptismal font. One of the key features of this particular font is that it is in the shape of an octagon, and that shows the 8 sides of the shape, which signifies the 8th day. The 8th day, which again is symbolic of the resurrection. We have extra seating through the galleries that we have on both sides of the nave, and every Sunday they are filled. They are used as extra seating for when we do reach our capacity at the main level, and it does give us another perspective. Some of the features that you will notice on the outside of the church that aren't as explicit from the inside are the 2 towers that are on the front of the church. These weren't there originally, but over the years they were added. So there's a turret on one side, a turret which is cylindrical in its form. And then on the other side there's the bell tower, which to this day we can experience. The bell is rung every day during the week at 12 o'clock, which is the sign of the Angelus. So to this day we still use that bell on weekdays. St. Mary's Cathedral has, for the first time, been a part of Doors Open, and we were already looking at how we're going to plan for the upcoming Doors Open. We do have a little committee who is very enthusiastic, and I'm very enthusiastic also about the program, so that we can really bring to the fore a lot of the symbolism that is so deeply embedded within this church building. Because if these walls could speak, let me tell you, they'd have many stories to say.